The world of Heartland has always been more than just horses and family ranches. It has been a kingdom in its own right, a place where loyalty runs deep, where family bonds hold people together, and where every tradition feels like law. The Heartland Ranch has stood as a crown jewel, a symbol of strength and unity, a fortress where love, healing, and hope reign. For years, this kingdom has felt unshakable. The people who live within it know their roles, their loyalties, their duties. But every kingdom has its breaking point. Every kingdom, no matter how strong, eventually faces a storm. Season 19 brings that storm. And at its center is Nathan. He is not a king, not a ruler, not even someone who comes seeking power. Yet, something about him begins to shift the very balance of this world. It is not with force or battle that Nathan makes his mark. Instead, it is with quiet strength, a deep sense of understanding, and a presence that unsettles those around him. He does not demand loyalty, it is freely given to him. He does not ask to be noticed, people cannot help but notice him. And slowly, like the turning of seasons, the kingdom that has always stood firm begins to tilt toward him. At first, it seems small. A few conversations, a shared glance, a moment where someone chooses Nathan over the old order. But these are the first cracks in the walls. The kind of cracks no one sees until it is too late. And from these cracks, everything begins to change. Friendships that once felt unbreakable start to bend under the weight of this new presence. Trust, which once flowed so easily, suddenly feels uncertain. The kingdom begins to whisper, and the whispers all carry the same name: Nathan. The truth is, kingdoms rarely fall because of enemies. They fall from the inside, when hearts and minds shift their loyalty. And in Heartland Season 19, we see this truth play out. Nathan does not need to fight against anyone because slowly, one by one, people begin to fight for him. His kindness becomes a weapon sharper than any blade. His charm becomes a crown brighter than the one the old kingdom wore. And the people, knowingly or not, begin to choose him. But what does it mean for the Heartland we've always known? What does it mean for the bonds that have carried this story for nearly 2 decades? These are the questions Season 19 dares to answer. It is no longer about holding on to the past, but about facing a future where the kingdom must decide: will it stand as it always has, or will it fall? For Nathan, as the season unfolds, this theme, the fall of a kingdom and the rise of something unexpected, becomes the heartbeat of the story. Every choice, every glance, every word carries weight. The ranch that once felt like solid ground suddenly feels like shifting sand. The family that once felt untouchable suddenly feels fragile. And yet, within that fragility lies something beautiful, something new. Because sometimes, when kingdoms fall, they make room for something even stronger to rise. This is the world Season 19 invites us into. A world where tradition meets change, where loyalty is tested, and where one man's presence shakes the foundations of everything we thought we knew. And this is only the beginning. The kingdom has started to tremble. The fall has begun. Nathan does not arrive with the roar of thunder. He does not storm the gates of the kingdom, demanding to be seen. Instead, he enters like a whisper, unnoticed at first, almost ordinary. And yet, it is often the quiet ones who leave the deepest mark. Nathan's journey is not about claiming power. It is about something far more dangerous to any kingdom: winning hearts. From the moment he steps into the Heartland world, something feels different. His presence is steady, like the calm before a storm. He listens more than he speaks, but when he does speak, people lean in. He does not argue. He understands. He does not command. He inspires. In a place built on tradition, his very way of existing feels like a challenge, though he never intends it to be. Picture a chessboard. For years, the pieces have moved in predictable patterns. The kings and queens, the knights and bishops, all playing their roles. Then comes Nathan, not a king, not even a knight, but a single piece that moves in ways no one expects. Suddenly, the board changes. Suddenly, the rules no longer feel the same. And as he takes his steps, one after another, people begin to notice the shift. But Nathan's journey is not just about strategy. It is about connection. He sees people not for their roles in the kingdom, but for who they truly are. When someone is in pain, he notices. When someone feels forgotten, he remembers. His kindness is not grand, not flashy, but it is relentless. And this kind of kindness is dangerous because it makes people question where their loyalty belongs. Slowly, we begin to see cracks in the old order. Someone confides in Nathan instead of a longtime friend. Someone trusts him with a secret they never dared to share before. Someone feels understood by him in a way they have never felt within the walls of Heartland's kingdom. And so the whispers grow louder. Nathan is not just another figure in the story, he is becoming the story. The beauty of his journey lies in its quiet rise. He never declares himself a leader, yet people begin to follow his lead. He never claims a crown, yet he begins to wear one in the eyes of others. This is how kingdoms fall. Not with armies, not with battles, but with a single heart turning, and then another, until the balance tips. And Nathan, without even knowing, becomes the weight that tips it. But there is a cost to this kind of rise. With every bond Nathan builds, another bond begins to strain. With every heart he wins, another heart feels betrayed. His journey is not free of conflict. It is paved with the ache of those who once felt secure, now left to wonder if their place in the kingdom still matters. To admire Nathan is to risk losing the comfort of the familiar. To trust him is to step into the unknown. And yet, that is why his journey matters. He represents change, the kind that sneaks in when no one is looking, the kind that forces everyone to confront who they are and what they truly want. Nathan is not perfect, and he does not pretend to be. But perhaps that is why people fall for him. In a kingdom built on tradition and image, Nathan brings something real. And real is powerful. Real is unforgettable. By the time the kingdom realizes what is happening, it is too late. Nathan's journey is no longer just his own. It has become the path others are choosing to walk. And in season 19 of Heartland, we watch as this journey transforms not only him, but everyone around him. This is Nathan's rise. Not loud, not violent, but unstoppable. Every kingdom believes it will last forever. The walls stand tall, the crown shines bright, and the people move through life certain that nothing will ever change. But no wall is unbreakable. No crown is untouchable. And in season 19 of Heartland, we begin to see what happens when the unshakable finally tremble. It starts in silence. A decision made in private. A glance held too long. A promise broken. Not with anger, but with choice. These small moments do not look like destruction, they look like life. But they carry weight. And together, they begin to topple the kingdom brick by brick. Nathan becomes the unspoken reason for these cracks. Not because he seeks to tear anything down, but because his presence reveals what has been fragile all along. He becomes the mirror people cannot look away from. In him, they see hope, but also truth. Truth about what they've wanted, truth about what they've been missing, truth about the lies they told themselves to keep the kingdom steady. And truth, once seen, cannot be unseen. The fall is not a battle fought on open fields. It is a storm within hearts. A daughter who once followed her family's path begins to follow her own. A friend who once stood firmly beside tradition begins to step away. A bond that seemed stronger than time begins to unravel, thread by thread. Nathan doesn't break these ties, he simply becomes the reason people realize they no longer fit. Imagine the ranch as a castle. Its walls are its traditions, its roof is its history, and its heart is its people. For years, the castle stood strong, untouched by doubt. But with Nathan's arrival, the stones begin to loosen. The walls do not fall in one dramatic crash. Instead, they crumble slowly, as if time itself has decided the old ways must end. And in the quiet collapse, the people must choose, cling to the ruins or walk towards something new. The kingdom falls not in anger, but in longing. People long for the comfort Nathan offers. They long for the freedom he represents. They long for the chance to be seen as more than their roles, their duties, their past mistakes. That longing pulls harder than tradition ever could. It whispers louder than any command. And one by one, they listen, but with every choice, the cost grows heavier. Those who remain loyal to the old order feel betrayed. They feel as though the ground beneath their feet has shifted without warning. Resentment brews. Fear rises. The once solid kingdom now feels divided. And division is the sharpest weapon of all. Nathan never asked for this. He does not crown himself king. But sometimes a kingdom does not fall because someone seizes power, it falls because its people give their hearts to another. And Nathan, whether he knows it or not, has become the center of gravity. Everything leans toward him, and in leaning, everything else begins to collapse. The storm cannot be stopped. The cracks cannot be patched. Season 19 shows us that change, once it begins, cannot be undone. And as the kingdom of Heartland falls, we are left with one question. When the dust settles, who will still be standing? Because kingdoms do not just fall, they transform. When kingdoms fall, the story is not only about destruction, it is also about what survives. In Season 19 of Heartland, we see that even as walls crumble and crowns slip, something far greater begins to rise, the raw, unbreakable heart of the people who live within this world. And that is where the true power lies. Amidst the storm Nathan has stirred, the essence of Heartland remains. Family, love, healing. The fall of the kingdom is not an ending but a revelation. It forces everyone to strip away titles, traditions, and old expectations until only truth remains. And in that truth, something beautiful begins to grow. Nathan, unknowingly, becomes a spark of renewal. He does not steal anyone's place. Instead, he helps others find their own. Where the old kingdom demanded loyalty to tradition, Nathan shows them the strength of loyalty to themselves. Where the old order silenced pain, Nathan creates space for voices to be heard. His presence breaks things open. Yes, but it also allows wounds to breathe, and in that breath, healing begins. Picture it. The castle that once stood tall is gone. Its stones lie scattered across the field. But in the emptiness, there is space. Space for the sun to reach places it never could before. Space for seeds to take root in the soil that was once hidden beneath cold stone. The fall is not just destruction, it is creation. And as Season 19 unfolds, we begin to see a new kingdom quietly forming. Not of walls and crowns, but of bonds that are chosen, not inherited. The climax is not one single moment of battle. It is 1,000 small moments where hearts make their choice. A brother forgives. A daughter dares to dream. A friend admits a truth long buried. Each of these choices feels like a thread of light weaving through the darkness. And together, they create something stronger than the kingdom that fell. But make no mistake, the ending is not neat. And it is not easy. Change never is. Loyalties are tested. Trust must be rebuilt. Some wounds will take time to heal. And that is what makes this story real. Because in Heartland, growth has always come with pain, and love has always demanded courage. Season 19 does not shy away from that truth. Instead, it embraces it. The question that lingers is not whether the kingdom has fallen, it has. The question is, what will rise in its place? Will Nathan's influence unite those who remain, or will it divide them forever? Will the family find strength in new bonds, or will the fractures run too deep to mend? The final images of this season leave us breathless. A crown lies forgotten in the dust. The throne stands empty. And Nathan, not a king, not a ruler, but a man who never asked for power, walks forward into the horizon. The kingdom has fallen, yes, but perhaps, just perhaps, a new world has begun. And so we are left with the truth. Heartland is no longer what it once was. It is something different, something deeper, something braver. Season 19 dares to ask, will you cling to the ruins, or will you step into what comes next? Because in the end, kingdoms fall, but hearts rise. The ground no longer feels steady. The walls of the old kingdom have fallen. The crown lies abandoned, and the air itself feels charged as if lightning could strike at any moment. This is where Season 19 of Heartland sharpens into its most breathtaking form. The story is no longer about whether the kingdom will fall. It already has. The question now is, what rises from the ruins? The camera of the imagination lingers on Nathan. He does not sit on the throne. He does not wear the crown. And yet, all eyes turn toward him. Not because he demands it, but because he has become the unspoken answer to questions no one dared to ask before. Could he be the one to lead them forward? Could he be the voice they follow when tradition has grown silent? The kingdom may be gone, But Nathan's shadow stretches long across its remains, tension surges in every relationship. Hearts that once beat together now beat out of rhythm. Choices grow heavier, sharper, impossible to ignore. Some cling to the ashes of the old world, desperate to rebuild it as it once was. Others look to Nathan, drawn by the spark of something new, something freer, something unshaped by rules and titles. And in this clash of loyalties, the true battle begins not on horseback, not with swords, but within the soul of every character we love. The storm reaches its peak in silence, the kind of silence that makes the audience lean forward, breathless. A look exchanged, a word left unspoken, a step taken into the unknown. It is in these moments that we feel the weight of everything, the cost of change, the fragility of trust, the pull of love. And we know, deep down, nothing can ever go back to the way it was, but amid the chaos, there is hope. Hope that what rises from the fall will be stronger, kinder, truer. Hope that love will not be lost, but remade. Hope that even shattered kingdoms can give birth to something beautiful. And that hope rests in part on Nathan, the man who never sought a kingdom, yet may become the one to shape its future. The music swells. The imagery sharpens, a crown lying in the dirt, a horse galloping across endless fields, a shadow walking into a horizon lit by fire and sunrise all at once. And then the voice whispers, "The kingdom has fallen, but for whom does it rise?" The screen fades to black. Season 19 of Heartland leaves us with a choice, a promise, and a question that will echo long after the final frame. Will Nathan be the savior of the fallen kingdom, or the reason it can never be rebuilt? Every story has its rise. Every kingdom has its fall. But the truest stories, the ones that stay with us long after the lights go out, are the ones that ask, what comes after? Season 19 of Heartland is not simply about the collapse of a world we thought unshakable. It is about the courage to rebuild when the dust clears. It is about hearts daring to step forward when the path behind them has disappeared. It is about love that chooses to survive, even when everything else has been stripped away. Nathan is not a king, not a ruler, not even a hero carved in stone. He is human, flawed, fragile, unexpected. And yet, perhaps that is why his presence matters more than any crown ever could. Because the kingdom that fell was built on walls and rules. The kingdom that might rise now is built on something far stronger. Choice. The choice to trust. The choice to love. The choice to believe in something new. Imagine the closing scene. The sun breaking over the hills, painting the ranch in gold. Horses running free across open fields. A broken crown left behind in the soil, half buried, half forgotten. And Nathan walking not toward a throne, but into the horizon, where endless possibilities wait. The message is clear. The kingdom as we knew it is gone, but the story of what comes next is only beginning. This is where the emotional core of Heartland beats louder than ever. Family is not about who sits on a throne. Love is not about rules etched in stone. Healing is not about clinging to what was. It is about opening our hands, letting go, and daring to catch what comes after. And through Nathan's quiet rise, we are reminded that even in the ruins of what we've lost, we can still find hope. So ask yourself, when kingdoms fall, do you cling to the ruins, or do you step forward into the light? That is the question season 19 leaves us with. That is the choice it places in the hearts of every character, and in the hearts of every viewer. The kingdom has fallen, but hearts rise. And in that rising, a new world is waiting. Fade to black. The words linger on the screen,